When was the last time you did something nice for God? That's kind of a weird question, isn't it? Might even seem a trifle arrogant. I mean, how could I, or anyone else for that matter, do something for God? I mean, after all, God is God and hardly needs anything from us. Or maybe it seems theologically incorrect, like I missed that day in my seminary theology class. I mean, whoever would ask such a question doesn't understand. God is all-powerful, doesn't have to depend on us for anything, even nice things. Duh. Or I suppose if you were an old-time hardline Calvinist, you might think human beings are such totally sinful creatures that we rarely ever even do nice things for one another. How could we do anything nice for God? But even taking all that into consideration, okay, I still think the question is a valid one, at least to get our thought processes going. When was the last time you did something nice for God? I mean, in a sense, it was easy for Mary, wasn't it? She had God right there in flesh and blood as Jesus. She could fix him dinner, or more likely in her case, get Martha to fix him dinner. She could sit right there at his feet. She could pay close attention to whatever he said. She could spend the equivalent of a year's salary on some expensive perfume and anoint his feet and wipe them with her hair, which probably seems like a strange gesture to us, but if we'd been there, we could have done something equally extravagant. But we weren't there. And Jesus isn't here, at least not in the same way. So maybe we need to back up a bit. Maybe first we have to ask the question, what does it mean to do something nice for God? And then maybe we can answer the question of when was the last time we did it. Well, we can understand, can't we, what it is to do something nice or something extravagant for another human being, like Mary did for Jesus. I mean, haven't you ever loved someone enough that you were willing to spend a whole lot of money on something nice for them? Yeah. Haven't we even at times been tempted to go overboard and be extravagant on something just for ourselves? Yeah, we know how to be generous toward one another. Even though being human, we often fall short of our own standards, but being generous toward God has to be different somehow. I mean, even if we do love God very much, it does not make sense to buy God a diamond ring or a shiny new Ferrari or a trip to Paris or a vacation home in the mountains somewhere. All of that would be silly. And yet, actually, those are much easier than what it is we are actually asked to do. Because the only gift we can give to God that means anything at all is the gift of ourselves. And not just little teeny bits of ourselves either, though that's a fine place to begin. Indeed, it's where we have to begin. But if we're really interested in being generous, in being as outrageously generous as Mary was to Jesus, we are going to have to go all the way. Whole hog, whole 9 yards, pick your metaphor, whole self. Little bits of ourselves may please God, but the only gift that will satisfy God, the only gift we can call truly generous or extravagant, is the gift of our whole self, heart, soul, mind, warts and all. As we learn from watching Mary, one aspect of our generous self-giving needs to be material and tangible. And again, obviously you can't write God a check or FedEx a gift addressed heaven. But Jesus did say long ago that whatever we do for the least among our brothers and sisters, his brothers and sisters, we have done for him. And yeah, he did say we would have the poor with us always, but that was never intended to be lifted out of context as an excuse for being ungenerous, as some, even among Christians, do. But at any rate, it seems clear from Jesus' teachings that if we are generous to the poor and needy, then we're being generous toward God. That's a good step. It might be financial generosity, like writing a check for worldwide hunger relief, or maybe the Presbyterian hunger program, or something more local, like the North Texas Food Bank, whatever. Or it could be a material object, like clothing from your closet to be distributed right here from the church. Or perhaps canned goods for a food pantry. We can all do that. Or it might be a gift of your time, like tutoring children in the public school, or helping build a Habitat for Humanity home or something. I mean, whenever we give of ourselves to someone in need, we are giving ourselves to God. But we also give ourselves to God when we make the conscious choice to spend time with God. When we get ourselves and our family out of bed on a cold Sunday morning and make it to church. Yay. Even though we would have craved a little extra sleep. When we spend time in prayer or meditation or studying our Bible. Many of us find it hard to slow down enough to do those things. It is a gift of ourselves, it's a gift of our lives to God when we decide it is important enough to find time to spend with God. That's an act of generosity. Just as it is when we find time to spend it with a person we care about. So, I would wager that most, if not all of us here, are making that journey. We're on the right track. We are giving ourselves and our gifts to God. But as one of my 7th grade teachers was fond of saying, you may be on the right track, but you'll get run over if you just stand there. I mean, we have to be careful not to praise ourselves too loudly just for being on the right track. I mean, after all, how many of us can truthfully say that we are as extravagant toward God as Mary was to Jesus? How many of us are willing to spend as much money on God's concerns as we do even on our own vacations? Much less are we ready to look at Jesus' suggestion of selling everything and giving to the poor. I mean, after all, then we'd be poor and someone would have to take care of us, right? That's not logical. And besides, if you tried to claim that on your tax return, the IRS would be all over you faster than you can say itemized deduction. But if I really want to get down on myself, I think about, how many of us would be willing to do it with just one paycheck, just one? And I don't mean spread out over the course of a year. I mean take the next paycheck, or Social Security check, whatever, and endorse the whole thing over to the clothing closet, Salvation Army, domestic violence shelter, whatever your favorite cause that's near to your heart is, and just for 1 month live on the grace of God alone. I haven't had the guts to do it yet. I'm preaching to myself here too. But what if? Or how many of us would be willing to take all of our allotted vacation time for a year and spend it instead on a prayer retreat? I mean, to be that extravagant toward God seems foolish. I mean, maybe even embarrassing. It's really different from anything that our world perceives as normal behavior for human beings. I mean, when a person dies and leaves their money to their church or to a charity, I mean, don't we hear lots of rumblings about, did somebody exercise undue influence over them? We can't imagine a sane person would do that because they wanted to. I mean, we can more easily understand spending $100,000 on a sports car than giving that kind of money to feed people. But Mary reminds us, quiet, thoughtful Mary, whose extravagant gesture toward Jesus has a depth of meaning that even she really can't guess at that moment. Because Christ is going to die for us. I mean, to make that ultimate, foolish, extravagant gesture. And for us who hardly deserve it, of course, really that's the entire point, isn't it? So how can we not work to be more extravagant toward God? To give our whole selves willingly, joyfully, knowing that ultimately what we receive in return will make our sacrifice seem small indeed. Friends, let us give ourselves away to God. Amen.